Good morning, everyone, and thank you again for joining me. I hope that yesterday's demonstration with the books in regards to the weight of the stories that you tell yourself really maybe just made a little sense and shed some light on why I'm so passionate about helping women to clear out of the stories. Because as you can see, it's very, very easy to get so confused and so caught up. And then we really do lose touch on what actually happened in the reality of our stories, and we start to really fabricate a lot of truth. So I hope yesterday was beneficial for you. I certainly enjoyed filming it, and rewatching it, it felt to me that it definitely portrayed the way that it was going to in my head. So win for Bree. Today, though, I wanted to address a question from a member who messaged me last week, and her question was, how do you overcome procrastination and self-doubt to become the go-getter that you once used to be? And again, it kind of links back to the stories that you're telling yourself, because those stories are fueling self-doubt and procrastination, and they're making whatever it is that you're actually wanting to do become a much bigger task than what it might in fact be. So there's two elements to this question that I'd like to address. The first part is procrastination and self-doubt. Now, in previous videos that I've done, I've explored procrastination and overwhelm, because what I find happens with women is when we have a task to do, maybe that we're not 100% passionate about doing, we allow those tiny little twinges of self-doubt to blow up into these massive big things. Good morning, Antoinette. Thank you for joining me. So because of that tiny little seed of self-doubt, we then allow it to grow and grow and grow. And then that tiny task that we originally set out to do becomes this massive big thing right in front of us. It's like the big elephant in the room. So procrastination is generally as a result of your brain going on overload, and it's creating way more stories than what you actually are even aware of. So when I have a client that comes to me, good morning, Jenny, thank you for joining me. When I have a client that comes to me and says, I'm really suffering from overwhelm and procrastination, the first advice that I always give to them is to get out what's in your head onto a piece of paper and sort every thought that you've written down into one of three piles. The first pile is going to be your ditch pile, the pile that 70% of your thoughts will fall under, because 70% of what you think about is a repeated unnecessary thought from yesterday. 70% of everything that you think is a repeated unnecessary thought from yesterday. So a lot of what you're getting caught up in is nonsense. So when we start to list down the stories in our heads, we're actually able to see in black and white the nonsense that we are actually telling ourselves. So your first pile will be your ditch pile. You toss it in the bin. I don't need to think about it. I can recognize immediately that it is just nonsense. That's your first pile. The second pile is your delegate pile. Now, we as women take on board that just because we're able to do a lot of things, we believe that we should be doing all of it. It's a waste if we get someone else to do it. It's a waste of money. We're being lazy. You know, we start to tell ourselves all of these stories as to why we shouldn't be delegating things. But my question to you is, if you are avoiding delegating a certain task, is the pain, is the procrastination, is the self-doubt, is the insecurity that not delegating that task that's causing you to feel, is it worth it? Or is a little bit of peace back in your life worth saying, you are a better person equipped for this particular task, so can you do this for me? And if it's not because they're better equipped, maybe it's because you want to give the responsibility to someone so that they can grow into that new role. I'm talking to all you mamas out there that have kids. I saw a post come up on Facebook a couple of weeks ago that said, I loved it. It had a kid with an iPad. And they said, if a child knows how to use a device like this, then they are more than capable of using a washing machine, a dishwasher, a vacuum cleaner, a dust buster, you know, and all those little appliances around the house that we use on a daily basis. So if you have children, start delegating tasks to them, because you're also teaching them that beautiful gift of responsibility. And since doing that, I've actually taught my 7-year-old daughter now how to do washing. So she throws probably one load every couple of days into the washing machine. Bless her cotton socks. She can't hang them because she's too short, but she's at least taking that step. And when she can see a pile there, she says to me, Mum, do you want me to put a load of washing on? She's 7. So both my kids, you know, they do things for themselves that take those tasks away from me, particularly because I do work from home. So I do at times get very overwhelmed by all of the house stuff that I have to do. So I have given their domains, their bedrooms as their responsibilities, and it's now an expectation that I have of them that they maintain those spaces. And at 7 and 9 years old, I don't think they're too young to be able to do that. So I've delegated that. It's taken some pressure off my shoulders so I can do the things that I'm actually passionate about. So that's your second list, is the delegate list. And then your last list will be the defer list. And this is quite often the stuff that we get caught up in trying to do when it's not the right time to do it. So there's 2 times that you're going to need to start being aware of when things aren't the right time to get things done. One is hormonally. Regardless, and I think I said this yesterday as well, regardless of what your period cycle is like, you have a hormone cycle that impacts your energy levels and your ability to be able to get stuff done. There is a time in the month where you are more creative. There is a time in the month where you will be far more proactive and energetic. There is going to be a time in the month where you are just flatter than normal. So if you are trying to do something in the wrong part of your cycle that doesn't need to be done by a specific time, then my encouragement to you would be to put that to a later period when you know that you're going to knock it out of the park because you're running with the right part of your cycle. The other thing is, if you're waking up at 2 a.m. in the morning with stupid head chatter, nothing needs to be done at 2 o'clock in the morning. So for those tasks that you start thinking about, oh, tomorrow I've got to do this and tomorrow I've got to do that, just visualize you're putting it in that defer pile. You're going to handle that later when it's a more appropriate time. So those 3 piles again is ditch, defer and delegate. And that's one of the best ways to get you out of a state of procrastination and overwhelm, because whatever is left that is not in either of those 3 piles or columns, they are the tasks that you then focus on. And then my encouragement suggestion to you is then to give yourself a 5 or 10 minute time slot. So you're only going to do the first task on the list, and you're going to give yourself 5 minutes or 10 minutes to just work at that one task. And then at the end of the 10 minutes, you're going to give yourself a pat on the back. You're going to go, yes, I've worked for 10 minutes. So you're going to start to build your self-confidence and pull yourself out of self-doubt by recognizing that you've done a 10-minute slot. And yes, it's only 10 minutes, but that's the whole point. We can all focus for 10 minutes. And then at the end of that 10-minute slot, you can look at it and go, right, well, that wasn't so bad. I really enjoyed that. I'm going to work for another 10 minutes. Or you can go, you know what, it's really not feeling my groove. Maybe I should try a different task. So you need to start trusting yourself and really listening in so that you're working with the intention that is fueled by a good feeling. Because I don't know about you, but if I really don't want to do something, I will procrastinate until the cows come home. It's not something that I really want to do. But the things that I want to do, nothing will stop me from getting them done. So work with those things that you really want to get done first to give yourself that bit of a confidence boost, then pull out one of the tasks that you're not too keen on, get that done, and then end with one of those really, I love this task, it's a fantastic thing to do task. So for the lady who has messaged me, I will send you a private message to let you know that I've got this clip up. I hope it has given you a little bit of insight. Again, self-doubt is one of those deeply seated belief systems that we hang on to that has been fueled and created over years and years of storytelling. So while this is a great conscious-based strategy that you can do to try and create a little momentum in your day, it's not going to solve the problem of self-doubt. But it's certainly going to give you a step towards being able to recognize what you're actually saying to yourself that is causing you to feel procrastination and self-doubt in the first place. And with that awareness and acknowledgement, we can then start to break that down and get to the core of the problem to address self-doubt at a much deeper level. So I'll private message you. If anyone else has something that you would like me to cover, I love getting messages and questions from the members in the group, because it makes me think too, and sort of go, right, well, how can I best serve this person, knowing that it's also going to serve others at the same time? And it, stretches my brain as well, which is not a bad thing. So have a brilliant day. I hope it has helped. If you are finding yourself in a state of overwhelm or procrastination, there are also free downloads that you can access. I have a video series and a free PDF that is in the description part of our page. So you're welcome to jump on board and download those. But essentially, I guide you back through that ditch, defer and delegate. It's the best thing that I know of to get yourself out of a state of overwhelm. And I've been self-employed now for like 13 years. So I know a thing or two about procrastination. I know a thing or two about not feeling motivated to get the job done. And I'm also confident that these strategies help you to just push through that block so that you can get the bare minimum done until you feel like you're in a better space to really rock it. And when you want to rock it, when you're in that space to absolutely kill it, then milk it for everything that it's worth, girls. Really learn to run when you can run, rest when you can rest, and be okay with all of the variances in between. That's what's being female. We are a cyclic being. We're going to have highs and lows, and it's